Hello. If you know me, you know I tend to seek out strange media. Be it movies, music, TV shows, the kind of things that I enjoy tend to be as outlandish as possible. But why is that? Why do I do it to myself? Am I really that unbearably pretentious? The answer is yes. But there's something else to it entirely. I've got like a perpetual need to experience new things, and I tend to get quickly bored of the familiar. So I watch a lot of weird movies and listen to a lot of weird music in an attempt to, well, broaden my horizons. And in this effort to broaden my horizons, I was inevitably led to, well, Vaporwave. Vaporwave's a little different than most of the music I listen to. Most of the stuff I tend to enjoy in music is wild and crazy and experimental, but the music doesn't often feel like it's doing what it does for a reason. But Vaporwave definitely feels different. Vaporwave feels like genuine art. Now, I don't really want to get into a what is and isn't art debate right now, so I'll just show you what I mean.
Every day it's a getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster.
A popular motif used by pop artists of the late 50s and 60s, such as Andy Warhol, was to take mass-produced, common items and recontextualize them as art pieces. And my personal interpretation of this art movement is, in a sense, to deconstruct what is and isn't art. A Campbell's tomato juice box isn't art. Or is it? And while I'm sure there's a debate to be had over the validity of this art movement as a whole, I'm not getting into that right now. My point is, Vaporwave sounds like an Andy Warhol painting looks. Who writes this shit? Yes, Vaporwave's key idea is the recontextualization of glossy corporate pop music into something dreamy, ambient, and kind of sinister in a weird way. And it's interesting to listen to say the least, and I thought it would be a fun topic to make a video on. So trying to forget the fact that Frederick Knudsen already did a probably much better video on this same topic, I set about researching various Vaporwave artists. It was during this research, however, that I discovered something. Many of the Vaporwave artists I listened to were interesting for their own special reasons. But to say that I was particularly interested in revisiting any of them would be a bold-faced lie. I appreciated the music, don't get me wrong, but nothing really stuck with me. Nothing, that is, except one song. On some random Spotify Vaporwave playlist, I stumbled across a song called CD Player 4 by Death's Dynamic Shroud. This song was unlike any of the others I had heard so far.
I have no idea what's going to happen.
While the core Vaporwave aesthetic was in place, it had this glitchy, broken sound to it that was, at the same time, unnerving and kind of beautiful. It honestly moved me in a way that's kind of hard to describe. And while I continued my search for more Vaporwave artists, I found myself returning to this one song over and over and over again. So eventually, at the risk of halting my entire research endeavor, I decided to give an entire Death's Dynamic Shroud album a listen. Specifically, the album Heavy Black Heart, which CD Player 4 was on. So there I sat, in a darkened room, headphones on, for about 47 minutes. Needless to say, I was absolutely blown away. Even by the second track, I knew I was listening to something truly special. The entire album kind of consistently and masterfully tiptoed right on the line between dreamlike and nightmarish. I immediately began revisiting my favorite tracks once I was done. I was in love instantly. So yeah, what was supposed to be a general Vaporwave video just became a Death's Dynamic Shroud video. Deal with it. Death's Dynamic Shroud, or rather Death's Dynamic Shroud.wmv, is a Philadelphia-based electronic music trio. Its members are Keith Rankin, aka Giant Claw, James Webster, aka HCMC, and Tech Honors, aka Peach and Plum. I don't know. Fun fact, even though I just called them a trio, the only album the three of them have ever worked on together is in fact Heavy Black Heart. The rest of Death's Dynamic Shroud... I'm just gonna call them DDS from now on. The rest of DDS's albums were either produced by a pair of the guys or just one of them. Here's a handy chart provided by Lias Official on the Vaporwave subreddit. Go check them out. So, what makes DDS's music so much more appealing to me than the variety of other Vaporwave artists out there? Well, to answer that question, we're gonna have to dive into a little bit of Vaporwaveception. See, as I've already mentioned, the goal of Vaporwave seems to be to create new art by recontextualizing old music. When most artists attempt this, they end up with something more or less like Floral Shop by Macintosh Plus. Certainly you're all familiar with this song from that album. It's music that is fairly basic, editing-wise and conceptually, and it's more so concerned with creating like a moody atmosphere than anything else. Not that this is a bad thing, far from it, but there's kind of a lack of engagement going on. It's basically just meant to be put on in the background while you smoke weed and think about life. How DDS does things differently is fairly simple. They recontextualize the already recontextualized format of Vaporwave into something a little more punchy, energetic, and engaging. Whereas Floral Shot just makes you want to chill out on the couch. Heavy Black Heart feels like it's trying to physically attack you. The vast amount of glitchy edits is staggering, and the broken chaos is almost as shocking as the occasional moments of surreal beauty. They essentially smashed the Vaporwave genre into pieces, and then tried to put it back together again in the most fun way possible. Listening to Heavy Black Heart is an absolute thrill ride on which you're never given the chance to really catch your breath. Every few seconds, something new and frightening seems to be trying to attack your eardrums, and it's absolutely insane. And after listening to Heavy Black Heart, I decided to check out the group's 2015 album, I'll Try Living Like This. And believe it or not, I loved it even more. While it's not quite as wild as Heavy Black Heart, it's definitely more so concerned with emotional impact and catchiness. I would say I'll Try Living Like This is actually relatively accessible if one's not familiar with Vaporwave, and I think it's a perfect first Vaporwave album, so I would recommend that over Heavy Black Heart. Even though I've spent more time gushing about Heavy Black Heart, just go with it. Obviously, I'd recommend listening to both, but definitely listen to I'll Try Living Like This before Heavy Black Heart. That's my little tidbit of knowledge. Anyway, I absolutely loved everything about these two albums, and I plan on listening to all of this group's albums. Vaporwave may not be for everyone, and Death's Dynamic Shroud certainly won't be for everyone, but if what I've described sounds like your cup of tea, I insist you check them out. Initially, this video was supposed to make some grand revelation about this genre, but I just ended up gushing about Death's Dynamic Shroud because I love them so much. So yeah, if there's a lesson to this video, it's everyone should try new things. I wasn't so sure about this whole Vaporwave thing initially, but I stuck with it, and you know what? I ended up finding my new favorite music group. There's a diamond or two in the rough for every musical genre, but you're never ever gonna find them if you don't do some digging. And I think that's really the message I want to leave you with. Listen to Vaporwave, listen to Death's Dynamic Shroud, at least give it a shot. If it's not for you, you know, at least you could say you tried. And that about does it. This has been Altpanda. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day, and well, I'll see you in the next video. I'll see you next time. I feel like I should do the peace thing like I do in Sega Journey, but no, I gotta find my own personality, my own thing. What should I say? Sayonara. Arrivederci.